to the pilots at the front of the aircraft, and they'll be discussing the final calculations for the run-in to allow for the parachutists to use the wind today to arrive at the right destination in front of you on the drop zone. As mentioned earlier, we are very lucky to be jumping from the A400 today. It is a first public display for the RAF Falcons. We have already jumped from the A400 during practice, so this isn't the first ever jump. However, this is our first public display, so we're very proud to be part of the Royal Air Force family, jumping here today in front of you at Cosford.
Discover the boundless courage within you, soaring beyond limits you never knew existed. To dare is to do. You are about to witness a display by one of the world's greatest military parachute display teams. Get your cameras ready. It's time for the Royal Air Force Falcons.
And eyes to the skies there, gentlemen, because here they go. Smoke is activated, the ramp is open. They're pumping fists, they are ready to go. Presenting to you in 30 seconds, the 2024 Royal Air Force Falcons Parachute Display Team. Parachutists will be sliding this place as our flag bearer, so we're expecting that, but look for the formation as they immediately get together, and we have 9 good canopies. So immediately into the snake formation, one parachutist lining up. Of Gazelles, that was a 4-ship. The Army Air Corps Blue Eagles used to fly 4 Gazelles, largely also with a Lynx. The RAF used to have, I forget whether it was a 2 or 3 ship team, it was before my time, called very imaginatively the Gazelles. And so it's always been a great display machine, and those days are rekindled by the civilian owners and pilots who make up the Gazelle Squadron. They're based at Landmead Airfield near Wantage in Oxfordshire, and when we talk to you about the pilots, you'll gather why they're so good at this, because a lot of them have experience on the Gazelle from their armed service and on some of those display teams.
So, although known in service as the Gazelle, it is the SA340, and then variations of SA Sud Aviation.
Yes, Sud Aviation of France.
And of course there was a North Aviation as well.
There was not, but these Westland-built examples. So in for their first manoeuvre, please welcome the 2024 Gazelle Squadron. In for their initial roulette break. Splitting off into two pairs, heading off towards the left-hand end of the airfield is the aircraft leading the formation, a really interesting one. That's the one with a big nose probe, and it's the Gazelle HD2 model that was used for 25 years by the for repairs. Later on it served again with the RAF before being dispatched to the Soviet Union to continue its operational career. Running in for Hawker Hurricane 1. Juno come back with Red 10 a little bit later on.
With the Wildcat running in to commence its display, this is the solo Black Cat. As the aircraft reaches the crowd line, watch for the steep pull up. As the speed bleeds off, the aircraft will come into the hover for the first of its, I think it's fair to say, its characteristic manoeuvre, the nose over.
There are two versions of the Wildcat in service with the UK Armed Forces. This is the Naval Wildcat HMA-2, and there's also the Wildcat AH-1, which serves with the Army Air Corps. Now, unlike its predecessor, the Lynx, both versions have a wheeled undercarriage. You'll remember that most Army Lynx, not all, the Mark 9 later had a wheeled undercarriage, most Army Lynx had a skid landing gear, and the naval ones had a wheeled undercarriage for shipborne operations. The decision was taken that the new Wildcat when it was developed to give them all wheeled landing gear.
So important when you're pushing these aircraft around, very small helicopter landing pads on the sterns of frigates and destroyers. There you see a kind of spiral loop. Those of you that remember back to the links with the Black Eagles will remember the amazing backflip. I really like that manoeuvre from the Black Cat. You will see it again a little bit later on towards the end of its display. It's a kind of loop with a twist in it as well. Very, very effective. As the aircraft comes back in front of you, you can clearly see the kind of growth on its nose right on the front of the aircraft. That's the MX Westcam electro-optical device. It carries a range of sensors, including a very, very high-powered camera.
That hugely stalky undercarriage, which, given that they were sometimes still operating from grass strips, could be a little fragile with much shorter landing gear. And of course, the reason it had the long landing gear was that you had to have clearance to the propeller in the propeller version. So when it was sort of take the propeller out and put a jet engine in, they left the undercarriage as was initially. But of course, a tricycle arrangement rather than a tail dragger as with the piston Provost. But the important thing here, rather like with the Mustang, you might say, is that the basics of the design were right. The Jet Provost T1, while looking rather ungainly, was an excellent aeroplane. It, as I say, first flew in 1954, the 26th of June that year, in the hands of Dick Weldon from Luton Airport, which was the factory airfield for the Percival and later Hunting Percival Company. Development flying the Jet Provost T1, and then the Central Flying School at Little Rissington took it on for service trials, training instructors and developing the training syllabus. After just a month...
As he pulls up at 5G, he converts his speed into height to perform his first manoeuvre, the Hammerhead. Flight Lieutenant Hughes was born in Carmarthen, South Wales, and started his flying career in the Royal Air Force in 1989, flying the VC-10 out of RAF Brize Norton, and then as a search and rescue pilot on the Sea King. From the end of this half horizontal, Bob will push negative 2G to level the aircraft upside down for the inverted pass. This is Bob's first year with the Tutor display. He is operating at a base of 500 feet, except the two final passes at 300 feet. Bob was actually an instructor here at Cosford in 2002 when the Tutor first came into service. The next two manoeuvres are the wing over and the ballistic roll, which Bob can use to gain energy for the next part of the sequence. The ballistic rolls are flown towards you in an off-crowd wind and away from you in an on-crowd wind. Displaying the Tutor requires careful energy management due to its low power-to-weight ratio. When not displaying, Bob is a qualified flying instructor on 115 Squadron, based at RAF Wittering, where he trains the future generation of Royal Air Force pilots, as well as converting frontline pilots into qualified flying instructors. During his varied career, Bob has amassed over 8,000 hours on 15 different aircraft types. This is is almost a full year in the air.
I should say, on the water, and which we should see demonstrated in this display, are retractable, so they're now in the up position. It's very long-ranged as well. When the patrol bomber version prototype first flew in 1936, it achieved a new world distance record in excess of 3,400 miles.
Royal Air Force Typhoon.
Of number 257 Squadron, one of the many RAF Hawker Typhoon units that took that outstanding fighter and ground attack aircraft into battle over Normandy. And he'll now be accelerating the aircraft to somewhere in the region of 600 knots, coming down to his minimum display height of some 100 feet for a high-speed pass.
Charlie's coming. Come in. Come in.
See the water vapour spilling off the wings there as turbo pulls just about 9G in a very tight turn. Again, lots of these very characteristic barrel rolls, almost like a corkscrew. The aircraft literally corkscrewing across the sky.
He's wearing a full-body G-suit, and that, combined with pressure breathing, allows him to withstand these manoeuvres, many of which are being conducted at 9G, meaning his body weighs some 9 times normal. This is, of course, an aircraft that is on daily active service operations, whether maintaining quick reaction alert, the UK air defence capability from both Coningsby and RAF Lossiemouth, or around the world, notably in the Middle East.
into the sky for the 2024 Chinook roll demonstration. You can see the Chinook carrying a battlefield gun on one of its 3 underslung load hooks. Flying the aircraft today is Flight Lieutenant Ian Cooper, known as Coots. He has more than 1,000 flying hours on the Chinook, which he's clocked up on numerous operational deployments, including Operation Shader and Operation Newcomb in Mali. Joining Coops in the cockpit today is Flight Lieutenant Luke Day, who became a pilot, having failed to join up as a military dentist originally. Luke has deployed on multiple operations, flying in 5 different countries throughout Africa and the Middle East. The underslung load Coops and Luke are carrying today weighs 2 tons. If you listen closely, you can hear the gearboxes working just that little bit harder as they cater for the extra weight. The Chinook is famous worldwide, not only for its ability to carry 3 underslung loads simultaneously, but also its load carrying capacity, both externally and internally. In today's configuration, the aircraft could carry an incredible 6 additional tons of freight and still achieve an impressive range of 300 miles. Now positioning to drop off the underslung load in front of you. Dropping off an underslung load requires a robust and effective communication process between all crew members, as pilots are unable to see what's going on underneath the aircraft. This is achieved by the crewman in the rear cabin, painting a mental picture for the and Merlin. Providing specialist helicopter landing site reconnaissance and movement of essential supplies by on an approach, or during dusty, brownout, or snowy whiteout conditions. Dynamic maneuver enables us to rapidly adjust from maximum flying speed to bring in support to the troops on the ground in a minimum time. Coops is flying at 140 miles per hour. He'll rapidly decelerate the aircraft and turn using some pedal. This results in the side of the air brake acting as a windbreak. The aircraft is now going to position expeditiously forward and down to recover the troops.
The British Aircraft Corporation absorbed hunting in 1960. And they took on various hunting designs. In fact, what became the BAC-111 jet airliner was originally a hunting design. And the same is obviously true of this. But we've got here what is a significantly
military derivation of the 5, with again a number of changes made, introduction of various hard points, etc. But it became quite a formidable little combat aircraft in its own right.
Yeah, particularly with the Sultan of Oman's Air Force.
During the Darfur uprising and the Mirage battle, of course, most famously.
And we saw on several occasions the strike masters of North Belt military aviation services here, including veterans of that operation. And now seems like perhaps an appropriate moment to mention the founder of that organisation, Mark Petrie, who very sadly passed away earlier this year. We always enjoyed his displays here and elsewhere, and Mark will be very, very sorely missed indeed. Now, operating...
Roxy.
Tactical display.
strategic aircraft operated by 2 pilots and 1 weapons systems operator. Has the ability to carry 25 tons of payload, a range of 2,000.
Profile picture? Yeah, it's my profile picture.
The following Gnat T1. On this aircraft, it's not an all-over yellow colour scheme, because the dark coloured tail fin denotes the fact that this is painted to represent the team leader's aeroplane. The Yellow Jacks, however, weren't destined to last long. Reportedly, the air officer commanding of what was still then training command wasn't keen on the aircraft's colour scheme, nor on the team name. The decision was taken for 1965 to form just one official Royal Air Force Aerobatic team. Prior to that, there had been different premier teams every season, as that was the birth of the Red Arrows. Their first display on the Gnat took place at a press event at RAF Little Rissington on the 6th of May 1965. Their public debut took place 9 days later at the Biggin Hill Airfair. At that stage, Lee Jones, who'd been leader of the Yellow Jacks, was still team leader. It was a 7-ship formation.
Welcome to the team on arrival. Cosford, please put your hands together for the 2024 Royal Air Force Aerobatic team. It's the Red Arrows! The team arrive in our famous Diamond 9, trailing our world famous red, white and blue. Red 1 starts to pull up and he sings the team to the left. And you'll see that platform of our world famous Diamond 9. Reds 8 and 9 start to make their way left and right to form up 9 Arrow. And this year we have a new team leader, a new Red 1, that is squad leader John Bond, known as Bondy. Bondy's in his first year as team leader. He's previously been in the team for 5 years. He was Red 2, 7, 6 twice before coming back in 2024 as Red 4. As the smoke comes on, 4 Big Vixen. Bondy is a former Typhoon pilot and former qualified flying instructor on the Tutor today, so please make sure you come and visit and say hello. As the team off to the left hand side, Reds 8 and 9 in trail for one of the most popular, if not the most popular manoeuvre we fly. It's once again for 2024, it's Tornado! Red 9 calls the ball as Reds 8 and 9 roll around the smoke. But watch for the colour change as Red 1 brings the team down the line.
A little bit left. Now.
You may be able to see on the back of the aircraft some small balls. The first one, it means that pilots fly with a higher throttle setting. As we come to the end of the first half, you'll now see a manoeuvre not worked for normally 20 years. This is the 5-4 split. As we go into the second half, the team now break down into two distinct sections. Going off to the right, we have Reds 1. Red 1 brings them around to the right. Once again, you can see our world famous red, white and blue. And that is capable due to the smoke pod underneath the belly of the aeroplane. That smoke pod is capable of producing approximately 5 minutes of white smoke, 1 minute of red smoke and 1 minute of blue smoke. And each colour is selected by its own individual pilot on the pilot's control column, as Reds 2, 3, 4 and 5 now move upwards alongside Red 1. Red 6 and 7 roll inverted as they match length and depths for the mirror pass. Red 6 and 7 flying all the way down the line, inverted, working hard to make sure that blue does not. Clear goes. Reds 4 and 5 roll to the outside in one of the hardest manoeuvres for our new pilots each year. This is Rollbacks.